Hello and welcome to Culture Shock, the pop culture podcast brought to you by four aging millennials and our outdated opinions. I'm your host, Doug, and with me today, as always, is...
I'm Adrian. Power up.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich. I'm Corey.
Finish him! And I'm Mike.
Jill sandwich. This week we continue with yet another introductory episode. Tonight we're going to touch on a few of our favorite virtual adventures, talk about the importance of multiplayer games as we get older, and round things off with a top three, just like we always have been. Just to jump right into it then, single-player games, one that I find that I just can't get enough of, Super Mario World. Something I've been able to play a million times my whole life, basically. That's just an easy go-to single-player experience. I used to like it multiplayer more. I don't anymore.
I mean, that's true. That game is probably one of the best, if not the best Mario game that was ever made.
Super Mario World is one I had such a hard time leaving off of my top three list. Like, if we were to do a top five, it's in there easy. It's one, unfortunately, that just missed the mark in my top three. So I absolutely love that game.
As a younger brother, I only ever see that that game as a multiplayer game because I was always Luigi.
That's kind of the way we were, me and Adrian, when we'd play it. I always made him be Luigi. Yeah, I was a little unfair about it, but, he was the little brother, so that's the hand he was dealt.
Yeah, my sister, who didn't even like video games, had to be Luigi for me. So,
like, who wants to be like, it's me, Luigi? Nobody wants to do that.
Oh, come on now. Luigi's actually one of the best characters.
In Mario World, like the third one, or no, the second one, he had like the best jump.
Oh, yeah.
His legs wiggled and he stayed in the air for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's just the younger sibling cross to bear. I think that's pretty universal, that you're going to be Luigi or you're going to be Tails flying Sonic around.
Absolutely.
Getting run off the damn screen every time.
Constantly off screen. I loved it.
Yeah, sticking in that vein, I mean, obviously they're going to be on here, so just have to finish out my Mario collection. Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario 64.
Ooh, yep, that's one of mine.
64 is actually my favorite Mario game.
It was so well done for the 3D era.
It's actually weird for me to say because I grew up playing 1, 2, 3, Land, Yoshi's Island. I grew up playing all of those and I love them, but 64 just got something. I don't know what it was.
I totally missed the chip on 64. The first copy I've ever owned is the Mario 3D All-Stars for the Switch. I've never had it. I still have my childhood 64. I've never had Super Mario 64 till now, so I have no opinion on it.
Really?
Yeah, that surprises me.
I've never beat it.
Yeah, that shocks me.
Do you know part of Mario 64 that always annoyed the hell out of me though? That crying penguin.
I think that's pretty universal for everybody who's played it.
Even I have thrown that penguin off the mountain. I never have.
You monster! No, I've done it too.
And then you got to go talk to the mom just because it's you got to go let her know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was gonna bring you your child, man, but it wouldn't stop crying. So now, if you want to find it that direction.
Said, hey, if Mario falls off the map, he just comes out of a picture. Maybe that's what happened to the penguin.
Nope, he's dead.
Nope, he died.
Yeah, only Mario is the one with the ability to jump through picture frames. Come on.
Do you think that was like an ode to the what was that, Yoshi's Island with the crying baby Mario?
Oh, probably.
Oh yeah,
because that was the most annoying sound in the world.
Just get good at the game and don't let him pop.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, everybody's experienced
what crying
that.
baby sound in Yoshi's Island? What
are you talking about?
Just stop being bad at games, seriously.
Get good, mate.
I don't think I've ever heard that sound before, and I've beat that game 45 times.
I think that's how it sounds.
If you've never heard it, Mike, just replicate it.
I believe they also do a annoying whining cry in the Wii remake when they're in the bubble.
Oh, what's that, like Super Mario Brothers U or something like that? Or what?
They don't make any noise in that one. I played that with my buddy.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I only played it like the one time.
Yeah, that game was always fun. The Wii, I like the Wii version because like you could really go out of your way to screw your partner over in that game
Oh,
so
yeah,
many times.
If you jumped on their head, they were
Or avoid the bubble completely and don't save them.
Yeah, and that game was frustratingly hilarious.
and you could actually be Toad. Like, who wants to be like the last time you were able to be Toad was
Super Mario Brothers 2
yeah.
He's actually the best character in that game too.
Yeah.
and part 2.
Yeah, he's used for all the speedruns. Because when he's carrying something in his hands, he
like
runs
super
25% faster than
Really?
everybody else. Yeah.
You'll have to play it and check it out.
So what else we got past Mario? I know somebody else has something.
Dude, anything Zelda for me.
Anything Zelda?
Anything
Zelda.
Zelda. I will play any Zelda game.
Any Zelda.
Except maybe 2.
Hey, I only ever played and beat 2 like within the last few years. That game's a bastard.
It's definitely the least favorite out of almost everybody who talks about Zelda.
It's hard.
It's just so hard.
Zelda
What's
2
the second
for
one
the
called?
NES.
It's literally just called
Zelda 2.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever even played that one.
It's on.
Yeah,
You can get it on the Switch if you have the emulators that they have on there.
Yeah, no, thank you.
You don't want to do that to yourself.
It's not that bad. It's just very different.
I'm definitely more in the camp of the 3D Zelda games. Not that I don't like the older ones, but I have a few wrote down, but obviously Ocarina of Time is my all-time favorite Zelda game. And it's probably one of my top 10, 15.
It's definitely my favorite.
That's my favorite Zelda.
It's a top, but it's not my favorite Zelda. It's not even actually my top 3 favorite Zeldas.
I'm guessing your
Really?
favorite's probably Breath of the Wild.
That's actually shocking.
Breath of the Wild, Majora's
Majora's
Mask,
Mask.
and Wind Waker.
Okay. Wind Waker's the one I
Majora's
didn't-
Mask was so different. Like, it actually was stressful to a point because, like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to lose all this progress if I don't beat this. If I don't get it done in the time allotted, like the whole game was a time trial.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
it was built that way. It was really interesting for its time.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was definitely clever.
Yeah, it was my favorite until Breath of the Wild.
I mean, I do like Breath of the Wild a lot. We won't get into that.
I mean, yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole other episode. We have an unpopular opinion on our panel.
My entire rant in regards to that opinion could be its own episode. So
Nobody on this podcast thinks Breath of the Wild is a bad game. Let's
No,
just say
I love
that.
it. I do absolutely love Breath of the Wild, but I have we won't go there.
Shaniqua don't live here no more. All right, Corey, what do you have for?
That, ladies and gentlemen, is a outdated millennial quote. We need a sound for that.
Wah, wah, wah.
The Zencaster soundboard.
why?
Oh shit, that's definitely outdated.
That's a 90s sound right there. Sorry, kids, you don't understand. I mean, it's not going to be me if I don't bring up Resident Evil 4. I have poured so many hours into Resident Evil 4, and it's not even an open world game. It's very linear, but I've played it so many times.
Oh yeah,
When they originally made it, it was supposed to be like a supernatural type game.
right.
They actually made some of it, and you can see videos of Leon running around with ghosts and stuff, and it's just stupid. And they ended up cutting that completely, remaking it, and they took that whole idea and made it Devil May Cry. That's where Devil May
Oh.
Cry came from.
Yeah, a whole new
Nice.
series was born with that premise.
Everybody loves Devil
Oh,
May
and
Cry.
of course, you can try and look up Ashley's skirt in Resident Evil 4, but it doesn't go well for you. And we all did it. Let's not lie.
Pervert.
Exactly.
This had really a part in that game. That's hilarious.
There's a point where she's up on a ladder and you can look up and she covers up and says, "You pervert."
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was genius to throw that in the game because they know gamers are going to try everything they can.
Yeah, I mean,
Some games do so well at trolling perverted bastards.
Yeah, like giving you achievements that staple right to your account for doing it.
I got caught with every single possible pervert that you can get caught with in video games.
That's Corey, by the way.
Yeah, I'm Corey. I'm a pervert.
he's a pervert.
He's a pervert.
And he's
Yeah, but-
damn proud of it.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4, definitely. I don't think it's Corey or I's favorite Resident Evil. Maybe. I don't think it's your favorite, is it, Corey?
No.
I didn't think so. The experience was pretty consistent, like between the village and the castle areas. Like, I think the game stayed consistently high quality the entire runtime.
It did something that I didn't think they could do in Resident Evil, which was go away from the zombies completely and
Right.
master it. I thought it seemed like a mistake,
Yeah.
but somehow the story, I don't know. I just thought it was great.
And that is that's still one of the scariest moments in my life. When me and my friend Tyler like first played that on the GameCube, it was literally dark out, and the first time we ran into the chainsaw and he cut our head off, we literally turned off the GameCube and didn't play it until the next day when it was light out.
The chainsaw guy, if you don't see him coming, man, it is creepy.
Terrifying.
My entire experience, I played a little bit of Resident Evil 4. I've never finished the whole thing.
What?
But my limited experience with it, I haven't played a lot of Resident Evil or horror games in general, but with my limited Resident Evil 4 experience, the chainsaw guy, my friend was sitting there, he was like waiting for the chainsaw guy, because I had no idea why I was like so stoked.
Right.
I'm on this roof. This guy comes up this roof, and I accidentally kick him off the roof. He dies. That was the chainsaw guy. I had no idea there was a chainsaw guy until after.
Oh my god! So you just kicked him off the roof accidentally, and he died.
I went to go down the ladder, but he came up the ladder at the same time, and the timing of him getting off the ladder was perfect. So instead of me getting on the ladder, it kicked him off the roof.
That dude's supposed to take like 30 shots to kill.
I kicked him off the roof. He just died.
It's almost impossible to kill him in that first part with the limited bullets you get around the village.
Right.
And you killed him with a kick to the face.
And I had no idea.
This is Sparta him.
I had no idea what happened. And my friend was just like, what the fuck?
Where's everybody going? Bingo? You have to love those Leon one-liners.
I didn't say the dialogue was good.
Honestly, the only Resident Evil game I played was the first one.
That's the only Resident Evil
almost
game.
And I've only ever seen, as far as like gameplay, other than like I've played the first one, and I've only ever seen gameplay of the second one. I've never done any of the others.
The second remake or the original for the PlayStation?
The original for the PlayStation.
Oh, you have to play that remake.
Play the original.
Well, and the original, yeah.
I have played a bit of Resident Evil 2 remake. I thought that was really well done.
That's the best example of a perfect remake.
Absolutely.
Resident Evil 2 is the best thing they've ever remade. In my eyes, movie, video game, music, anything.
I know they did a couple things, like they actually like moved some of the scares in spots, or just changed once upon it in the old version, like this body would have come to life and been a zombie, but now it was just a body and did nothing.
There's actually a ton of differences.
So they kind of turned it into a new game still, because like there would be new surprises.
Absolutely.
There's actually a ton of differences in the remake compared to the first. I could get into that for an hour.
The best thing they did is just got rid of those damn tank controls. The tank controls in the old games, like it has charm to it, but like, I don't know, it just feels so much better to play.
The fixed camera definitely added a scare factor.
Over the shoulder.
But the darkness of the remake and the over the shoulder, just not knowing what's around the corner and all you have is a little flashlight, it's genius.
And the zombies never die in that game. You can hit them with like 8 headshots and they just keep coming.
And they don't even fall after. Like in the original game, if you shoot them 3 times in the head, they fall. They're usually not dead. They'll get up. You shoot them one more time. They're usually dead.
Yeah.
In the remake, you can shoot them 8 times in the head. Their head's basically gone because they created an engine for this remake where stuff actually falls off. You can have both arms off and half their head and they're still walking towards you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So shoot them in the legs.
Oh, I never thought of that.
You can do that, but you need to go down, like, you need to traverse the same halls throughout the game to solve puzzles. And then you have a bunch of crawlers that are biting your ankles.
And you don't see them on the ground because your flashlight's above where they're crawling.
That's fair. This is why I don't play those games.
And then the damn crawlers take up enough time. By the time you kick them off, you have 2 other zombies like pinning you down.
And if it's scary that you're looking for, any of our listeners out there, play Final Fantasy VII with a headset, VR headset.
Final Fantasy 7?
7 with a VR headset.
Resident Evil 7?
Yes. I was looking at Final Fantasy in my notes.
I'm sitting here like, I know I haven't played the remake yet.
Let me start that over.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7 with the VR headset on. It's one of the scariest things you'll ever play.
Oh, absolutely terrifying.
Yes.
I will say that Final Fantasy VII, not the remake. I love the remake, but we won't talk about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, for Doug's sake.
Scratch that off the list.
The original Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite single player games.
And I can tell you a travesty about that game. I usually rely on IGN for everything video game. I watch all their videos. I watch all their reviews. If I'm going to buy a game, I watch their review.
Uh-huh.
Final Fantasy VII Original is number 97 of their top 100 games of all time.
Final Fantasy VII, the original.
It's 97
That's of games of all time, not just RPGs.
games all time.
I mean, you know how many games are out there? That's not terrible.
No, Mike, look at the list, please, because there are probably 20 RPGs above it.
Well, I mean, I know that when they did their RPG list, I know what number 1 was.
Well, you need to share that because our listeners might not know that, Mike.
We'll get to that later.
Well, then say that. I didn't know. I thought you just weren't going to share that with us.
We'll get to that later when we talk about my favorite game of all
Don't
time.
worry, it's a game that's gonna make him look really old to you.
It's true because it
Mike-
came out in '95.
We're not talking about definitely maybe. We're talking about video games.
Callbacks.
Yeah,
Go back and listen to episode whatever that was.
I'll be the guy to say I don't know if I'm alone in this. I probably am, but I have multiple Final Fantasy games over 7.
No, you're not. You're not alone.
Yeah, I also do.
I have 1 over 7.
I like 6 more. I like 8 more. I like 9 more. Obviously I love 10 more.
You like 8 more.
I do.
Okay.
Leon's an excellent character.
Yeah. absolutely.
Other than the obvious Final Fantasy X, 8 is my favorite Final Fantasy game outside that one.
I'm gonna get probably hate for this, but I loved 12.
Oh, I love 12.
I didn't like 12.
I have it on Steam.
I am so old school. I prefer turn-based, and I don't like anything else.
12 was still turn-based. They tried to introduce like a different style to it, but
It went a little too far from what I'm comfortable with.
It was more like an MMO.
yeah.
Yeah, if I wanted to play World of Warcraft, I just play World of Warcraft.
And now 15 is they made 15 exactly like they made Kingdom Hearts.
I wouldn't say exactly.
It was very similar to that style of like
It was an action combat.
yeah.
I fell off the Final Fantasy train after 10-2, I think.
10-2 is to me terrible.
I loved it.
I thought it was good.
Oh, I tried playing it and I couldn't make it that far into it. Not because it was hard, but because I don't know why.
144 hours in my first file.
I don't know why. I couldn't
I
get
didn't
through
play
it.
I didn't play it that long.
Yeah, here it is, Corey. Final Fantasy VII, number 96 on their list. Wow.
What's number 1 on their list? I want to know what number 1's is on their list.
I do know it's number 1 on their list, and Doug already mentioned it. It's Super Mario World.
Oh, well,
Okay.
that's fair.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best game of all time. But
There
yeah,
are
that's a
4
good game.
Mario games in their top 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
I only have one game in my top 3 on their whole 100, and it's number 20 on their list.
I actually
but we'll get into that.
Oh, you mean your top 3?
In my top 3.
None of my games are in their top 3.
No,
Or in
no.
their top 100.
Now I got to look this up.
Damn you.
Yeah, I'm just glad none of us really said Final Fantasy 15 is up there at the top. Like I played it and beat it just because I love Final Fantasy, but yeah, it had its
I
share
have
of
played
problems.
so many other JRPGs past the Final Fantasy franchise.
I wasn't a
Right.
fan of 15.
Yeah,
Have you ever played Eternal Sonata?
I have not.
No.
You literally like play a flute and like keep the darkness.
Oh, I've
What the
seen
f-
people play that game.
It's a
fuck?
pain in the ass.
I feel like Michael making the obscure TV and movie references. Doug's going to be the video game person.
I could
Oh,
name
for sure.
any video game like Mr. Mosquito. What do you know about Mr. Mosquito?
Nothing. Next subject.
Was that the sequel to the Jerry Seinfeld B movie?
No, man. No, that's the second movie.
Oh no, Mr. Mosquito. I actually remember seeing a trailer for that on Toonami of all fucking things, and I wanted that game so bad because it looked fun. You just fly around sucking blood out of people.
Is that right, Doug?
You got it.
So that's what you do.
Like respect.
When I seen the trailer, I was like, "This looks like fun. You get to cause harm to people."
Guys, that's not what that is. Mr. Mosquito is that movie with Jeff Goldblum.
That's the fly. The Fly. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
The
that game, The
Fly.
Fly, where you walk around, you fly around and eat people.
So far, none of my top 3 is on this top 100 list either. What's
It's not gonna be. It's kind of. I actually don't like their list very much because Resident Evil 4 is like 32.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 is
Tony
32.
Hawk's
I just
Pro Skater 2
got
is
to
number
it.
83. That was way bigger than that.
Okay.
Wow.
Tony Hawk was a fun game, but it's not even in my top 100.
Oh, it's for sure in my top 100.
It's a fun party game, but you won't find a single party game in my top like 100.
Oh,
That's
two
fair.
of my top 3s are in there. One's 25, one's 18.
Oh, Mike, so predictable.
Well, then I already know your top 3.
You know what? The other one isn't on there at all.
All right, so you have one on the
I'm
list.
sure everybody listening just loves hearing these tops that you guys aren't like.
Well,
saying
we'll
names.
get there.
Well, then let's
We'll edit
move
this.
on from
We'll edit this in post.
Yeah.
So I was always team PlayStation and the PlayStation Xbox battle, but one of my absolute favorite single player games is Fable 2.
Oh
It's
yeah,
on my list too.
Yeah,
I love Fable.
is it?
I like Fable
Oh yeah,
1 and 2.
yeah. 1 and 2. I'm the same
Yeah,
way.
I enjoyed
I even
3.
like 3, but
Oh, you even like 3? You said?
I
Yeah.
even like 3.
Okay.
I have a fun fact about Fable 2.
What do you got?
Well, do tell.
It's one of the first games to ever allow you to marry an NPC of the same sex.
Oh wow,
Nice.
was
Yep.
that in like what Mass Effect? Probably right around the same time Mass Effect 2.
I don't know. I just know
Yeah.
it's one of. I don't know what the
Yeah.
other ones are.
You can marry different species and different.
Yeah.
Different species, different.
Mass Effect 2 was a banger as well.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite games ever.
I agree.
1 and 2 are top tier.
1 and 2.
They're re-releasing it remastered, and I.
They already
thought about
have.
They
Yeah.
already did. They
Okay.
already did.
Well, I thought about picking it up just because a lot of my friends.
Oh,
have told
it's
me to
worth
play
it.
Yeah, just for 1 and 2 even.
I already know that your name's Shepard. That's all I know.
Mass Effect the same as Fable for me. 1 and 2 are awesome. I could definitely do without 3.
Yeah, I didn't do 3 either.
I completely understand that in the last 10 years, it feels like Grand Theft Auto has been an online game. But
Right.
before it was ever this online world, they had single player games for
That was a
PlayStation
thing.
2 and PlayStation. And I loved every single one of them.
So do you even like the overhead, like the bird's eye
Yeah,
view?
oh, yeah. The very first Grand Theft Auto I ever played was
Yes.
Grand Theft Auto 2.
Nice.
Jeez.
Yeah, man, you're a little block running around shooting other little blocks in purple clothing.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I've never been a fan of any of those like style games. So I've always like, what is the appeal? What is it that brings you back to them?
It's doing things in the real world illegal that you can't do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stealing
Like
cars.
I can steal a car and then just run everybody over on the street and it's fine.
It's the ultimate sandbox experience. It's like most people that love those games really don't even play the full story.
Yeah, I very rarely like
I
play
have.
sandbox games. They just don't really hold my attention long.
Right.
When they finally went to 3D, like Grand Theft Auto 3, San Andreas, Vice City, they were all fantastic stories.
I did like San Andreas a bit because it added the RPG elements, like you
Yes.
boost your strength and like,
Yeah,
exercise, ride the bike. And
You
get
could go on
stronger.
dates.
And I thought that was.
I was going to
thought
say
that
the
was
same thing. I don't have any GTA game on any of my lists, but San Andreas is my favorite.
Yeah, that was the one I have if I have hours in.
Right.
San Andreas was great because you didn't have to go bowling with your stupid cousin.
Oh, my cousin.
That's true. I loved Vice City just for the soundtrack alone.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
I would ride in the car for hours just to switch the radio stations and
Yeah.
listen to the
Yeah. Actually, mine never switched off the one station, I don't think.
I probably did play a bit of Vice City as well, now that you mention it, with my cousins and stuff. Man, that's going way back.
There was one time I remember me and Adrian played that game for a couple hours just driving around obeying the laws.
What?
we did.
We stopped at red lights. We didn't hit people.
I try to do that. Every single time I try to do that, it takes me about a minute and I'm like, fuck this.
Oh, we played it for a long time. To the point where I was like, what are we doing? Kill a hooker. Hurry up and kill a hooker. Seriously.
Have to go.
Which is an impulse I have in real life, but I don't do it.
I mean, that's fair.
That's why GTA is important.
Exactly. It helps us get out our rage and without taking it out on real
Right.
people.
And that's why I'm not recording this podcast from a prison cell.
That'd be impressive if you were.
Yeah,
Soon.
Vice City definitely had the best soundtrack, and it had like the best color schemes.
Yeah.
Like it had that Miami Vice thing going on. Like
That
everything
whole
was like
80, it was the 80s.
it
I
was.
loved it so much. The story, I think, still is one of the best stories.
Yeah, but speaking of
Really?
Nico and his cousin going bowling, they actually make a fun little cameo in the next game I'm going to talk about, which was PS4 Spider-Man.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah, when you're crawling outside of one of the buildings, you can actually see Nico and his cousin planning like a heist.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, that is actually in one of the missions.
No shit. I need to see this, and you need to send me like a link to the YouTube.
Absolutely.
You should play it and find it yourself.
Yeah, have you never played Spider-Man?
I played the whole thing. That's the only game I've ever 100%ed.
Yes, that was actually my first platinum on PS4.
Speaking of Spider-Man, the 2000 game Spider-Man was made by the same people who did Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, and that's why you could download him.
Never saw.
Oh, the original Spider-Man.
Sorry, I said download. This is way before downloading. You could unlock him.
Yeah,
We used to be able to unlock things.
in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, you could use Spider-Man as a special character.
Yes,
In our day,
big head mode.
video games were released completed.
Except that they weren't, and there were 1,000 version differences out that you had to like hunt between if you knew what you were looking for. But we won't get into that.
Yeah, I know. I know for the longest time, Spider-Man 2 like was the gold standard because it introduced the swinging mechanics.
It was done very well. It was
And
done
that game kicks ass.
Not to mention that's like the best Spider-Man of the Tobey Maguire movies. So it
Right,
was awesome that
absolutely.
they made the game after it.
That's the best Spider-Man movie. But anyway,
Of the Tobey Maguires, yes.
Of the Tobey
yeah, that's what I said. Best Spider-Man movie.
Of the
Of
Tobey
the
Maguires,
Tobey
right?
Maguire ones, yeah.
Best Spider-Man movie, period. But
Not
anyway,
even the third best Spider-Man.
But anyway, yeah, Spider-Man on PS4. I love some of the decisions they made with the characters, like taking them out of the standard. Like they made Norman Osborn the mayor of the city. And I love what they did with Mary Jane, like they made her actually working for the Bugle. So I just love some of the creative decisions they made, and spoilers, but Harry Osborn's sick the entire time. You find out at the end that he's been like locked away while Norman's trying to find a cure for him. So I kind of like how they did their own story that just felt fresh to me. So that's absolutely one of my favorite single player games. And Spider-Man's my favorite superhero of all time, so...
I think the biggest thing that have held superhero video games back all these years is they felt the need to try to like be the movie version or something instead of just doing their own story.
The new Spider-Man game, the story actually choked me up. Not a lot of
Miles
video game
Morales
stories choked me up. No, sorry.
Oh.
The newest Spider-Man, not Miles
Right,
Morales.
not Miles Morales.
Just Spider-Man.
For
PS4. The story actually choked me up.
Yeah,
absolutely, with Ant-Man.
Video games don't do that a whole lot to me, but that one got me.
They occasionally, if the writing is really good, they can. I mean, people make fun of everybody that plays video games, but they're just as emotional as movies sometimes.
Oh yeah, as many strides as video games have made, they're every bit as emotional as movies. Like if it's done right.
I think that's pretty commonly accepted nowadays.
Yeah,
unlike when we were younger.
For sure.
When we were younger, there wasn't one famous person playing a video game character's voice. Now it happens all the time.
When we were younger, comic books wasn't like cool to like. Comic book movies.
No, now it's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, now it's cool to be a nerd.
To the point where Norman Reedus is literally the character in Death Stranding.
Yeah.
He's literally the character.
And that's a damn shame because they almost came out with PT, the Silent Hills.
I played the download that you
Even
can't
I
get anymore.
played that.
That would have been an amazing game.
That was horrifying.
It
It was.
The baby in the sink thing still gets me, and I can't even play it anymore.
Yep, it's
Little
not available.
baby fetus in the sink.
Yep,
Still can't do it.
talking baby fetus.
Yes, that freaked me
Those
out.
weird things don't really get me. It was when when you saw the ghost the one time and it like rushes you.
Oh yeah,
like when you're like
Russian jump
forced to
scares
turn
you.
around and it's just like, hey, it's like.
At any point, Doug, did you happen to stand in the bathroom against the dirty mirror and you can see it shaking behind you?
No,
The
I
ghost
didn't
would
see
like
that.
shake behind
yeah.
you.
I heard that somebody hacked it and they found out that the camera is literally the ghost. So if you found so the whole time you're being followed by it.
It's right behind you.
100% of the time.
Yeah, that playable trailer, like I remember that being such a fucking big deal when it came out. It's horrifying. Like the sound design adds so much to it, like with that radio playing in the background, talking about like the husband murdering his wife.
It was such a big deal that when they got rid of it and you couldn't download it anymore, people were selling their PS4s for $1,000 with that game loaded on it.
Yes,
it was kind of like the whole Flappy Bird thing. Like,
it was.
Yeah.
Like you can't have this anymore. Buy this. It has it.
And
on
it was a damn trailer. Like people didn't even have a full game to get rid of. It was a playable trailer, and it was that big of a deal.
Playable trailer, which by the way, at the end of it, nothing happens.
Right.
There's no conclusion to the trailer.
If you actually go through and do all the Easter eggs to actually get the real ending, it's just like Norman Reedus out on the street. You just get
I
the
didn't
reveal.
know it even had that.
Yeah, there's Easter eggs in it. You have to complete like a bunch of Easter eggs, and you get the
Wow.
true ending. It's just Norman Reedus like out on the street. The camera pans up to his face.
When I heard that fucking Kojima and Guillermo
Yes.
del Toro were
Yes.
co-oping together to make the best horror, a game that was supposed to be like the true successor to Silent Hill, the Silent Hill games.
That's actually why I'm really excited for that new Resident Evil show that's coming out, because Capcom is heavily involved in the making.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're making it true to the games this time.
Yeah, but Silent Hill's not coming out. Like, that's probably the biggest tragedy. Being like such a fan of like horror games, that is the biggest tragedy like of a game not releasing, and especially when they followed it up with that goddamn train wreck that Norman Reedus was in.
Death Stranding is one of the most boring games I've ever played in my life.
Yeah.
I've never really been a Kojima game guy.
Oh
so
God.
I've never played through the Metal Gear Solid
Oh,
games.
you're hurting me.
I know.
There is a really cool thing in the new trailer for Death Stranding 2 where Norman Reedus' character walks up to a box and stares at it for a while and picks it up and realizes he can hide under it and just kind of shrugs his shoulders and puts it back down. That's really
That's
funny.
awesome.
That's wonderful.
Oh, good. Death Stranding's getting a sequel.
Yes, it is, unfortunately.
Death Stranding 2. Nobody showed up.
Speaking of Metal Gear Solid, the first 3 games are on my list of games I've
Yes.
sunk hundreds of hours into.
Yes.
And controversial opinion here, of those 3 games, 2 is my favorite game of all time of the Metal Gear Solid games, and it's not even a Snake game. But speaking of the Metal Gear Solid games, like the first one, I played it a million times, but the thing I wanted to actually say is, after Otacon pees himself, why does he keep wearing those pants the rest of the game? He couldn't find a pair of pants? Seriously?
That's a fair point.
I
Maybe
think
it's
I
keeping
might
him warm.
need a little context here.
There's a point where the ninja's coming towards Otacon on the ground, and he's shivering into a corner, and he pees himself on the ground. But the rest of the game, he's still wearing those pants. Like, every time you see him, he's still wearing those pants, and he never changes them.
Okay.
He talks to you completely normal, like he's not wearing piss pants.
Maybe that's all his closet is those pants.
He's not at home, though.
He's like a cartoon character. They have all the same clothes.
Or Free Guy in theaters now.
Corey, you probably said like
Nice.
when the ninja comes, and Doug's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I know of Metal Gear Solid enough
Right.
to know that that's a total
Too much lore to get into it
acceptable
now.
thing. Yeah.
Oh Jesus, yeah, that's a whole fucking episode.
But thank you, Ryan Reynolds, for sponsoring this episode at Free Guy Theaters.
In theaters now.
You have no idea what I had to go through to get him to sponsor us.
That's Mike. He wishes. Go ahead, Adrian.
Yeah, I just wanted to say in some facets you can definitely tell that we're brothers because I share the same unpopular opinion that Metal Gear Solid 2 is the best in the series. I just love the cast of villains in that game. Like every boss brings something really unique to the table. Like Corey, when it comes to like Vamp.
Yeah.
Vamp can literally pin down your shadows with like throwing knives. You have to like shoot out all the lights when you're fighting him. And just like each villain in that game, each boss brings something really different and unique.
And the lady with Fortune, when you're
Fortune.
shooting at her, bullets go around her. They can't touch her.
She has a force field around her. I love the story of the game. I love the cast of characters in it.
And of course, there's Fat Man.
And Fat Man on roller skates, of course.
I've heard a lot about 3. It's usually the one that I hear mentioned is like the
Yes.
best one.
That is a lot of people's opinion. Yes,
Where does that fall for you guys?
3 is my second favorite. It's right behind it.
it's my third favorite, behind the first original.
3 is it's kind of a prequel. It takes place like in the Cold War era, but it's kind of like a love story, but it's hard. It's like a double take. It seems like a story of betrayal between a master and her student, but it actually turns out that she had to turn to protect him. And
That's
it's also
the big
kind of a
boss.
love story. That's Big Boss, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And it's so emotional at the end. The final boss is her and you have to kill her. And it's a fucking tear jerking game.
I remember when that game was like relevant, like it was like the current big thing. People
Yes.
would talk about how that final boss could take like hours and
Oh, it could.
difficulty and stuff like that.
I would like to throw a disclaimer out there so people don't think I'm stupid. I didn't mean the original Metal Gear Solid for the Super Nintendo. I meant the original
that's
the
Metal
PlayStation
Gear.
1. Metal Gear.
It's okay. It's the original Metal Gear for the NES.
Yes.
Yeah, but just before we move on, I just want to say that, like, personally, it's also not a popular opinion. I find Part 5 to be overrated. Everybody loves Part 5, but to me, it's just, obviously, you don't have David Hayter reprising Snake, and that's a big blow. It's way too open world for me. Like, these games usually take more of a linear path, and the open world, it's like during the time where they're trying to make every game open world, and to me, it just doesn't feel like it belongs with this game.
But Hideo Kojima's in the game.
He is. But I just love the original 3 so much because I feel like all 3 of them brought something so unique. Like the first one, you obviously have everybody talks about the Psycho Mantis fight, and that's where literally you have to change your controller out of the first port because he can read your mind.
And he can read your memory card and tell you what files you have saved.
He'll talk about what games you play a lot and how much time you put into the games.
I believe that feature is coded to work with specific games, and they're all Konami games.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Still impressive for the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Part 2 kind of tore your heart out because at the beginning, the first act of the game, you do play as Snake, and they kind of pull one over on you. The rest of the game, you're riding.
You're a completely different character.
Completely different character, which everybody, when they put out the demo of that game, you played the Snake part, so everybody thought you were Snake that entire game. So it definitely pissed some people off.
Yes, I remember getting the Pizza Hut demo disc where you play as Snake, and I was like, oh, cool, another Metal Gear.
On the boat.
On the boat.
Yeah, but the second one to me was unique. It just introduced like so many new boss fights and things you really don't see in games. And then part 3 just had the great story of the betrayal, the turning over to the other side. And also it was the first time you had to like hunt and kill animals to survive. Like
it was a survival game.
It was a survival, and you had to treat your injuries. Like you could break bones, you had to bandage yourself up, and
you could bleed out.
You can bleed out.
I didn't know that they did that so early on.
Wow. Yeah, they did.
And if you ate the wrong animal or didn't cook it long enough, it could poison you.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to have an episode about Metal Gear Solid just because I'd like to hear.
I'd recommend you guys try them, yeah.
Yeah.
I might have to. Yeah, I might
it's
have to
a
check
long lore in that.
Oh my god, the story's so convoluted.
This wasn't planned, but because you said Pizza Hut demo disc, I think a quick mini question for everybody. What was your first Pizza Hut demo disc video game?
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, I think. I think that's the first one we ever got, right? It was multiple games.
There was Tony Hawk 2, there was Tekken 2, there was Medieval.
Medieval?
2 Extreme.
Yeah, Medieval, sorry. Oh yeah, 2 Extreme.
The skateboarding game.
Sled Storm.
Yeah.
Oh, Sled Storm.
It's between one of those.
I forgot about Sled Storm.
I only ever had 2, but one was a copy that it had Metal Gear Solid, Tomb Raider 3, and
I think we had that
Sled
one.
Storm, and I think Tekken 3 on it.
Wow, that's a banger.
Oh yeah. It also had Crash 3 Warped, the one underwater level.
That's a demo disc.
Yeah, that was a great disc. The other disc was the first entire level of God of War up to the Hydra boss fight.
Oh man,
yes.
Great games.
Yeah, I had that on a demo.
You saying Sled Storm reminded me of, for some reason, because of racing games, it just reminded me of Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2.
Yeah, I liked the second one.
Like
a lot.
those, both of the second one's my favorite.
It's quite the leap.
Two.
Yeah, it's probably
It just reminded me of racing games in general, and it got me thinking. It's like they weren't even on my list, and I forgot. I love those games so much.
The God of War games weren't even on my list, and I love those games.
Oh,
Yeah.
God of War 2018 is on my list.
I've never
I
played
still
it.
need to play that.
Oh my
I have
God.
it downloaded on my PS4, but I have yet to touch it.
Oh,
It's the best story for sure.
it's the best game I think in every
I'm a
facet,
PC
but-
gamer, so I missed out on a lot of the more modern console experiences that these guys like.
It's another game I know, like when it was coming out, people were skeptical because it changed the entire
Changed
button
everything.
mashing. It changed everything about God of War series.
It was square and triangle to hit in the old games, and it turned to L1 and R1.
Right.
It was way different.
Yeah, the mechanics are different. Like you don't even have the Chains of Olympus. Well, spoiler. For a while you don't have the Chains of Olympus.
You're in a whole different mythology.
Yeah, you're in a whole different world, literally. And they just changed so much about the games. Like a lot of people were really skeptical, and to me, it just ended up being a masterpiece.
The first 3 big titles and all of the smaller ones they made in between for DS and stuff, those
Yeah.
were all Greek mythology. And this one just throws you straight into Norse mythology, completely out of Greek into
Yeah.
Norse.
And like the game itself is so rewarding to go through, and you can upgrade your weapons, which is a nice feature.
Yeah, that is cool.
It has RPG elements to it, but like if you get to the end of the game, there's just like back-to-back big, shocking. I'm not going to spoil them, but there's 2 big moments that just your jaw is wide open when you hear both of them. And I have to say, I wasn't a huge fan of the older God of War games, to be honest.
I was.
Boy.
Yeah, so this game to me is just like, wow, this is
That's
how
from
it should have
2018.
always been done. But they didn't have, at the time, they didn't have the technology.
The only other one I want to mention real quick is kind of an obscure game that not a lot of people probably played, but it's one of my favorite RPGs of all time is Legends of Dragoon.
Oh, yeah, that's on my list.
The PS1 game.
Yes, it was the first 4-disc game I ever owned, and I played it probably 12 times, 13 times, 14 times, 27 times, 37 times. I don't know. I played it a lot.
It's a lot of 7s.
I like 7s.
I have it on my PS3. I just have yet to play through it.
Oh, really?
It's on
Yeah.
my PS3 too. That was
I have
confusing.
I have a pile of PS1 JRPGs like Xenogears.
Yeah, I bought all. They were selling them for $5 a piece.
Yeah, I
It's
loaded
impossible
up.
not to just buy
Yeah.
everything you want.
I got the Jack and Dexter trilogy on there. I got all kinds of shit. My PS3 is decked out with games like that I got digitally before they shut that down.
As far as newer games, all I have left, which I don't have to go into detail about, was just Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Love those games. Love the story behind them. And then...
Not to be, but you said newer games. And
Well,
then you said
I do.
Kingdom Hearts 1.
That's true. But I do have like a few like old games on my list. So I guess newer in
I
newer
like
in the grand
newer
scheme.
games like Pac-Man and Pong and Tetris and Doom.
Newer to me is anything PS2 and beyond. older is Nintendo, Super Nintendo,
Dude,
Sega Genesis.
PS2's lumped right in there
And
with
this
all that
is-
shit now.
And this is why we're aging millennials.
Exactly.
But I mean, my older games I'm talking about is fucking Symphony of the Night and Doom. So yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and then Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
Those are great games.
Yes.
Minus Origins.
And Arkham Knight. Well, Arkham Knight was okay, but
It was okay. Too much tank. Too much
Yeah.
Batmobile.
I haven't played through Night yet, but I have it.
yeah, Arkham Asylum just like introduced a whole new fighting system that many games copied.
I personally think Asylum is better than City.
I might agree with you.
It also took Batman games out of a 20-year slump of shit.
Oh God, yeah.
And I had Batman Forever for the Super Nintendo, and it was shit.
I had Batman Forever for the Sega Game Gear.
Oh man.
Yeah, so
Sega was
that's
a
all.
company that made systems back in the day.
Sega used to make costumes. Sonic the Hedgehog didn't used to be a Nintendo game.
That's right.
That's true.
He
Yeah.
used to own his own whole franchise, and then he got sold to the highest bidder.
Golden Axe.
That was random.
I just had to throw it in there.
Who doesn't love Golden Axe?
All right.
Are we ready to move on to our
I
next?
think I'm spent on that for now.
All right. Then the wonderful world of party games, multiplayer games you like to play with your friends.
Mario Party, for one. I mean, it's got party
Oh, yeah.
in the word.
Speaking
Sounds
of which, I cannot fucking wait for that.
October
God,
29th. I already have the money in my
so-
account.
Yes.
So fucking excited for it.
Oh, I cannot believe they're doing that.
We all have a Switch, so obviously we're all going to play it, right?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
See, I love the Super Mario Party that they made for the Switch, but I kind of don't like the 6 die. I know it's real, a 6 die, but all the old games had like 10, 1 through 10. And this one they're making, bringing back some of the old levels and stuff, they're going back to the 1 through 10 die, and I kind of like that.
Nice. Yeah.
I feel like the whole 6 die thing, the whole point of Super Mario Party was that it was supposed to be quicker, more digestible games compared to the old stigma that you had to have like 7 hours set aside to play Mario Party.
I like that, though.
Me too. I agree.
And they're going back to being able to do 50 turns in a game.
I know,
Yeah.
it's gonna be great. See, I love that. I agree. The whole new one was quicker, faster,
It
bite
was,
size.
And it was only 4 boards. I mean, that kind of sucked.
Yeah, I feel like the board sucked ass.
I skipped out on that one. It didn't even have normal online multiplayer at first. That's something they added later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually just got added not too long ago.
Yeah, I'm just really hoping for a return to form because, the aging millennial part coming out again, but I feel like those first original couple Mario parties, like they haven't even touched it since those. Like it hasn't come anywhere close.
I agree.
Since about 4, in my opinion, I've liked every single game except 8. 8 did a little too much with that stupid drum kit that came with it, the little bongo drums
Oh,
and the rhythm stuff. I didn't like that. It was for the Wii.
Was
The
that like
microphone.
was that like the DK
Yes.
bongo drums?
Yeah, and I think that was a different game altogether.
Okay.
But it came with its own little version of different games with I don't know. I just didn't care for it.
Right.
8 was about the only one I didn't like.
Well, again, sticking with the Mario theme, some of the most fun Corey, me, you, Eric, some of the most fun all of us ever had was Mario Kart 64.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. God, love Mario Kart 64.
Agreed.
Fuck that Rainbow Road.
On Rainbow, I remember when Adrian and I were playing at Mary's house the one time,
Yeah.
and this sticks with me to this day. He started calling the chomper thing. Why can't I think of the name of those things right now?
Chain Chomp.
Yeah, the chain chomp. He would always be like, "What a dick chomp!" It sticks with me to this day. Like that was the voice he used and like everything.
That was just how we talked.
Yeah, exactly.
I just to this day it fucking sticks with me.
Yeah, that's still an insult we use to this day because of that. What a dick jump! But I'm actually one of the people that these three are disappointed in me because I recently got a Switch. I still haven't bought Mario Kart 8. I know it's supposed to be like the best Mario Kart ever.
It's a very good game.
I disagree with it being the best ever. I think 64 is still my favorite one, but 8 definitely added so many levels, characters.
I definitely have nostalgia for 64.
Exactly, yeah.
It was my first 64 game even, but
okay.
8 is just... Like, I didn't get a 64 with Mario 64 like a lot of people did. I had Mario Kart 64 with mine. So,
Right.
that was why I didn't have it. But I just think 8 is just... There's, 40 more levels. There's the harder difficulty. There's more characters. There's way more customization.
Oh, you're right about all of that.
The customization to the vehicle actually matters.
The music is some of the best video game music of all time.
It's a game I have to get.
Oh yeah, it's
I was
excellent.
blown away. I was blown away by
It's a game I wait for to go on sale, but as we've talked about, Nintendo never has sales.
Nintendo never puts anything on sale.
Nintendo hasn't had a sale in our whole lives.
Not anything that you want anyway.
No.
I bought the Lego games for my kids, and they were
Yeah.
on sale at one point. But
Those are
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
That's what I'm
games.
saying. Yeah, Nintendo doesn't put anything themselves on sale. Nothing you want.
They put a lot of things on sale that are a universal property that anybody can have. But if it's a Nintendo brand, they definitely won't put it on sale.
They just laugh.
They laugh as you hand them money in tears.
Oh yeah. And sticking with the 64, before there was COD, there was GoldenEye.
Before there was
Oh, yeah.
any shooter,
There was.
there was GoldenEye.
Any shooter at all.
Absolutely one of the hardest games to go back and play now.
Oh, for sure.
It is unplayable.
It's a pile.
But that is the most fun we ever had.
If you go back and look at those graphics, it's like there's just these blocks, and then there's these faces painted on. I can't stop laughing thinking about them.
When you remember to crouch, you hold the C down button.
Oh
the
my
character
God.
crouches. You hold down the aim button, release the aim button, release C down, and you stay crouching. And if you
Oh,
pick
God.
Oddjob, you're now unhittable, and you get to kill all your friends.
Yeah. Oh, I love being Oddjob.
Oddjob was he was the biggest hack in the game.
We used to call no odd jobs every time we played.
Oh.
Oddjob, crouch, slap only. Go.
Oh my god, slap only. It took forever.
You were stupid if you were Jaws because he was the tallest person in the game.
Yep.
But he had metal teeth that you couldn't use.
I'm surprised more people from our generation didn't learn to play guitar because, if you can do GoldenEye controls, you can play chords.
If you can play anything on a 64 remote, you can play chords.
Right. I could teach you chords.
Speaking of guitar and party games,
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, boy.
I played the living hell out of Guitar Hero and Rock Band.
Yes,
I don't
let's
know
do
about you
it.
guys.
Sure.
That was quintessential. What was that? 2005, I think, when Guitar Hero
Yeah.
came out.
In that era.
Yeah, that was quintessential high school. Mike, how many nights did we stay up all night at your house just playing Guitar Hero playlists?
When Guitar Hero 80s came out, Adrian and I opened it up, put it in the PS2, fucking played it to completion in one night.
You have to.
Well, the first time I ever played it was at a party, and we played it. I sucked. I was so bad at it.
It was hard.
I bought it myself. I went out and bought it myself that next day. Weeks I practiced on that guitar. Came back, had another party with my friends. I was worse the second time. I sucked the second time worse than I did the first time.
I still remember taking my Xbox up to Corey's apartment that one time with Adrian.
That was a lot of fun.
Fucking jamming out to Monkey Wrench by Foo Fighters, and as soon as it was done, I played it on hard or expert? I can't remember. But fucking right as soon as the song was over, the entire power in all of Seneca went out.
Mike literally shut it
I
down.
rocked the
It
power.
was so fucking like coincidental.
Right at the end of the song, the power went out.
Out of all the games I've ever got like obsessed with, Guitar Hero is one of the ones I got the most sucked into and like felt.
Oh,
the
for
need to
sure.
Really play. I played to the point where I was getting 5 stars, 95% an expert on Through the Fire and Flames.
Oh
and
my
3 and
God.
shit like that. I was obsessed with that game.
My hand always cramped on that song.
There's definitely a different level of Guitar Heroes player. I was always a casual, medium to hard.
I just got hooked. I was like instantly. I was like, I have to just play this game, and I would just go and go.
That's another example. That game on fucking expert, I'm telling you, it's easier to just play a guitar.
That's what I've been told.
I play guitar and like I could never hit that fucking orange button. like what the fuck is happening?
The amount of time I practiced on those stupid guitars, I'd probably be in a band on tour right now.
It was like when you could get gold stars in that game for hitting all the notes without missing one.
You could get gold stars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't fuck
That
up
was a joke.
single
That was a
note.
joke, guys. Just laugh.
Don't worry, Corey. You just had to be good.
Yeah. When you 100% a song, you got the gold star.
Not an option.
Yeah. I had
Not a doctor.
23, an expert in 3.
Oh my God. I played that so much that was like my goal was to get gold stars.
That was supposed to be your goal, Mike.
Much like kindergarten, you wanted to get gold stars.
Gold stars, man.
Yeah, I never got those either.
Yeah, no, I was a bad kid.
I used to hide in the giant mailbox when they'd clean up at the end of the day.
And that's enough about our traumatic childhood.
No, it ain't. You'll learn lots.
That's not another episode. That's another podcast. Yeah, so
Child shocked.
I'm definitely not
Oh,
the
wait.
resident fighting game fan on here. That would be Doug. But a few that I just have to mention. I think my brother will agree with me. Tekken 3.
Oh, yeah.
That still holds up as one of my favorite fighting games
Not
of
to
all time.
interrupt you. A reason I didn't mention fighting games during party games because fighting games are not party games; they are a lifestyle choice.
Okay, so we have four topics on this episode.
Fuck.
Lifestyle choices / fighting games.
Okay, well, Doug's going to talk for the next 40 minutes.
This is Doug's category.
Well, now I'll get into the history of how fighting games came to be.
This is now the Doug podcast.
And then also Mortal Kombat, probably, I don't know, 2, 3, and 9 are probably my 3 favorite Mortal Kombat games.
Okay, that's fair. Mortal Kombat's totally a party game.
Yeah.
I actually super love Armageddon.
Do you really love Armageddon?
Yeah, I think I do,
I think I do. Deadly Alliance.
I got a PS2 like years after they were important again with a network adapter on it and hardwired in and played Armageddon online on dial-up on the PS2.
Nice.
Oh, that couldn't have been good.
That couldn't have been good. Well, he said Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Whoa.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm not an Armageddon. I don't like Deadly Alliance. I didn't like Mortal Kombat 4. Corey, do you remember the game we remembered being so excited for to rent? There was a time where you could rent games. But remember we
There were
rented
these
fucking...
video stores that you could go to and get things.
Remember we rented fucking Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero
Dude, I like that.
His standalone game. Oh, that game is fucking awful.
It's like an RPG of
You-
Sub-Zero.
You had to
Oh,
hit
I
a
do
button.
remember that. Oh my god.
You had to hit a button to change direction.
Yeah, it was more of a side-scrolling platform.
That game is awful.
It's
Every time he
great.
fell off a cliff, ah!
Sub-Zero wouldn't do that.
Primo.
See, guys, we kind of talk shit on new games, but then we like remember all of those games. It was like,
Yeah,
maybe
I
they
just said
aren't
I
so
love
bad
that
these
game.
days. That's my point.
Why are we still shitting on
You
this?
love Sub-Zero.
I
The
did.
game is awful.
That really was awful.
I also loved Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks.
Yeah, you son of a
Wow.
bitch. That was better than Sub-Zero, but
I'm a huge fan of the Injustice games. Those are fighters.
Those aren't Mortal Kombat games. Oh, fighters.
They're made by the same people that do Mortal Kombat.
they're Mortal Kombat without blood and fatalities.
They even did a Mortal Kombat versus DC, didn't they?
Yes, that was awful.
That was the first non-M-rated Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
They found really stupid ways for the superheroes not to kill anybody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which a Mortal Kombat game without blood and fatalities, just why?
But when they made Injustice, they let it be M-rated.
Right.
Yeah. I don't. They were like, you know what? Fuck this. We clearly fucked up.
Well, okay. Has anyone else read any of the Injustice comics?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Which, how far did you get?
Uh,
If you recall, they did it year-based.
I got to where Superman flies completely off the handle and kills Shazam. That's about as far as I got.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see when everybody starts to turn on him after that. Or read, sorry.
I wish it was more than just a couple of people. You ever read them, Mike?
No, I've never. So are you telling me like the games are actually based off those comics?
No, the game started the comic line.
Yeah,
Oh, no shit.
they actually released the comics with the games.
Yeah.
When you bought the first game, they sent the first comic.
I enjoy the story to those games.
It's based on how it all started. Like, the comics lead up to the games.
I need to check those out.
It's pretty good. I recommend them.
Another excellent party game is definitely the Super Smash Brothers series. The one that's out on Switch is probably the best one that I've ever played. For
Yeah,
sure.
and I haven't even gotten to play that one yet.
You need to.
You haven't played any
I
Ultimate?
haven't played any Ultimate, no.
Oh, man.
Do you own it and you just haven't played it, or
No, I don't. That's one I didn't buy yet.
There's so many characters. There's so many unlocked. Like
I've seen all the characters. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Sephiroth?
He
Yeah,
is
he
one.
is one of them.
The night that they announced Sephiroth, they released him the same night that he was announced. It was like, wait, what? What?
I remember just seeing that trailer where it looked like Sephiroth fucking killed Mario. That was insane.
Definitely getting this.
So
game
wow,
now.
this series is going a different direction.
Wait, are we still talking about Mortal Kombat?
During that trailer, I thought I was, yeah.
Like Doug is an avid fighter. Like when it comes to like games, like he loves
Doug
the
would
fighting
crush
games.
us all at any
He would
fighting
crush
game.
us in that game for sure.
He has over 500 hours in it. I'm not
Yeah.
going to play him.
That's just a casual fighter.
We have to play him though.
Oh, I 100% would, but I'm going to die.
We could have like 3 characters on one and he would kill us all.
I have the GameCube controller adapter just for Smash Brothers.
We have all played a form of Smash Brothers at some point in time in our lives, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, for
I've
sure.
played all of them.
Who is your
except this
favorite
one.
character, regardless of whatever game? Who is your favorite character to use of all time?
Captain
Diglett.
Falcon.
Did you say Diglett?
Diglett.
Adrian, you're such
Oh my
a
God.
fraud.
I like the pale lady from Wii Fit.
The Wii personal trainer?
Yeah, exactly.
Wii personal trainer.
Tom
Tom
I
Brady.
think it's Wii trainer, but
Tom Brady's my favorite Smash character.
damn it.
Oh my goodness. To be honest, I played Super Smash Brothers. I've played Melee. I don't even think I've played Brawl.
I hated Brawl.
Did you?
I did.
To be honest, I don't have a solid answer for like a main. I remember using Link and Star Fox a lot, but it's been a while since I've played.
Come on.
The older games I use Link a lot, but this new one I'm definitely
Hi.
I'm definitely a huge Kirby guy, and that's just because I spam the jump down B.
Captain Falcon.
Captain Falcon.
'Cause I like hitting you with Falcon Punch.
You can actually land that Falcon Punch? I've heard that's really hard to get.
Falcon Punch.
It's just it's a disrespect.
Yeah.
When you kill your opponent with that, then you know it's over.
So that's a sign of disrespect if you actually hit him with it.
Yeah.
Does that make your attacks stronger when you announce what you're doing?
Yes.
I think it's the same concept as like female tennis players grunting. It just makes their
It's all
serves.
tennis players.
That's all tennis players. So
It
the
puts
Falcon
more power behind it.
is the Falcon punch like the Phoenix punch from Paul Phoenix and Tekken, like a one hit kill?
Yes.
No,
the Phoenix
kinda,
punch was
but
funny.
no.
Oh yeah, if you could land the
it's so
Phoenix
hard to
punch,
get that.
that's the ultimate disgrace. You kill somebody in one hit.
That's
Yeah, because he winds up for like 10 seconds. to
He's-
hit.
In the new Smash Brothers, Cloud has a spam attack that's really annoying too. That fucking like that slash thing he does.
It's Blade Beam.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like it.
As I haven't played Ultimate, I don't have a favorite character in that game, and there's a huge list of characters, so I'd probably find somebody I like more.
Every character from every Smash. That's
Wow.
the list of characters.
That's why it's called Ultimate.
Sweet Tooth.
Plus the new ones. Kratos.
I'm really, yeah.
Kratos versus Jigglypuff.
Sackboy.
Fucking Yoda.
I'm sorry.
You know what? These aren't even preposterous. These guys will probably be in there someday.
I know.
Baby
We got
Groot.
fucking
Baby Groot.
from Minecraft. We got anybody's game.
Isn't Steve already in that game?
That's my
He's
point.
in there, yeah.
It is, yes.
If he's in there, anything is game at this point. Like,
Fucking Steve.
I'm ridiculously biased, and my character was always Mario, just
Yeah.
because.
My favorite character is Fortnite from Fortnite. That's a
I've
guy,
heard-
right?
I've heard of that.
What is this? Why are you talking
Guile,
about 2 weeks?
Chun-Li, Ryu are all in Fortnite now as characters you can use.
Is that a real thing?
Yes.
Along with Wolverine and shit like that.
What?
There's the Flash, the Arrow,
It
fucking
sucks.
Batman, Iron Man. Like they just so many different things are in Fortnite now.
The Batman, so it's the Robert
The
Pattinson one? The Batman.
Yes. Speaking of that, Rick is also in
Yeah,
Fortnite.
Rick Sanchez of all things is also
Rick
in
and
Fortnite.
Morty?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, Rick's in everything, so that's okay.
It's true.
it's because life is a simulation.
They are whores for advertising. They're in
Yeah.
everything.
Wendy's
Yeah.
commercials, Wendy's.
They are a Wendy's.
Oh, wasn't there a whole like a whole Szechuan sauce thing about them?
No, the Szechuan sauce was McDonald's that they
Oh.
did for Mulan back in the day. There's just
Yeah.
an episode of Rick and Morty where they're like trying to get it.
And the Rick and Morty
Oh.
fandom is cancerous at times, so they fucking like made McDonald's lose its fucking mind.
Damn.
So,
Why are so many fan bases so fucking toxic?
every single one, though.
It's everything you're gonna find those people.
All the best communities have some of the worst people.
That's
It's just
very
the way
true.
it is.
They really do. Yeah, just I guess for me to round out, I've definitely fallen strongly out of love with shooters in the entire genre. But back in the day, I put so many goddamn hours into the first 2 Black Ops games. That's just a game. It's so easy to like play a match and a match and a match, and before you know it, it's been 6 hours and you called off work.
Yeah, we did that multiple times when we were living together.
Yes. And then just another, since I don't give Xbox much love, I did love Halo 3 Online. I feel like that was one of the quintessential, like, me and friends played so much Halo 3 Online.
It was Halo 2 for me.
Yeah, I played Halo 2 a lot.
Halo 2 on original Xbox Live.
Yes.
When I was in Votech back in the day in high school, we would go down to I think it was computer information systems room where they had all the computers. You couldn't do things all online back in the day, kids, so you had to actually connect your computers together.
Computer lab.
We would have a complete LAN party of like 8 people playing Halo 2,
Oh, hell yeah.
and we'd do it the whole Votech, 2.5 hours worth of just destroying each other. It was kind of like that episode of The Office where they're all playing
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah, and he's up
When
against the
Jim
wall.
goes to the other branch.
Yeah, we would all just sit there.
Doug, what do you think of that episode?
I have no. I've been to real LAN parties though, so
Doug's the biggest
have
Office fan of all of us.
Yes, by
Yeah.
the way.
hands down. I love that show with Ricky Gervais.
I love Rick and Morty. Doug loves The Office, and Corey and or Mike loves
Seinfeld is the
Seinfeld.
best thing I've ever seen.
And all 3 of us except Corey like The Big Bang Theory.
That's right.
There's only one game that's ever made me call off work, and it's Breath of the Wild.
The game that you hate.
I don't hate it. I love that game, but I stayed up for hours and I lost so much sleep.
Did you call off work just to like fill in your blog about how much that game sucks?
No, I called off work so I could get some sleep because I didn't sleep at all.
Again, we all love that game.
Yeah.
Don't come at us.
That's the very first time I played it. That's the whole reason I stopped playing it for so long, is because I was losing so much sleep playing it.
Wait, like in high school and stuff, you never missed a day of school because of a game or something? Nothing?
No. I would just go to school with no sleep and then sleep on my desk.
Oh my God, Adrian! How many days of school did we miss just because we rented some games and we only had them for 5 days?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. Either 10th or 11th grade, I missed like fucking 63 days of school.
That sounds about right. I remember you being gone a lot.
I was 56 days in my senior year, so I feel you.
But the original Halo, didn't have online yet, correct?
It did on PC.
It did on PC.
Yeah.
I remember Corey. You remember David, our cousin, our weird cousin.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, Corey, you still there?
Oh man, that kid
Yeah,
was weird.
But he was the only kid at the time I knew. He had money, obviously, and he had an Xbox.
Yeah, his mom did a
Yes.
really good job.
So I remember going over to his house and playing that entire campaign, 2 players, and to me that was just like so mind blowing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that game
Yeah.
kicked ass. Like even offline, just playing it multiplayer, playing that campaign, it was so damn fun. So I have to give Halo some love.
The only thing I love about Halo is the web series that got started because of it, Red versus Blue.
It was. I liked the beginnings of it.
It had a lot of funny moments.
I like the Beyonce song
Yeah.
that came from it. He said, "Yeah, no."
We have a dog named Halo.
Did that
That's
come
that's
from?
all. I'm
No, Mike, you're supposed to be quiet because Doug and I were going to keep that in editing. Our complete silence.
okay. Hold on. I have a dog named Halo.
And also, I am a fan of sports in general, so my last one is NFL 2K5. We've all talked about it. It's my favorite football game of all time.
Yes.
It is the best football game ever.
I couldn't go through this list without mentioning one sports game, so I just had to throw it in there real
No, I
quick.
agree.
Actually, there's a bunch of sports games I like.
Oh yeah, I love all the NHL games.
Any of the 2K games, honestly, they know how to do sports games so well.
I liked FIFA.
Super surprisingly, any FIFA soccer game is amazing.
They are fun.
They're so much fun.
I miss a lot of the old Tiger Woods games.
Tiger Woods games.
Mario Golf, of course.
I have the new Mario Golf. It's great.
How many hours did we spend on NFL Street? Remember Crush the Carrier?
Oh my god,
man.
I hated NFL Street.
It was just that one mode, literally. Crush the Carrier was so fun.
We didn't play the games.
NBA Street was fine. Like that was actually pretty good, but NFL Street sucked.
Remember when NBA Street had fucking Mario in it?
Mario, Peach, and Luigi.
Yeah. That was a thing.
Do you guys remember Ready to Rumble round boxing?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
I killed every boxing game ever made back then.
Oh my god!
I bought
dude.
every one and killed every single one of them. I
Oh.
love them.
You remember when we owned a Virtual Boy and it gave us migraines?
Oh my god, yes.
To stare at the red and black?
I still get migraines because of that.
Just so these people understand, because I guarantee nobody out there knows what the hell a Virtual Boy is.
Virtually nobody.
It was this thing that stood, or you could sit it up on a tripod. You put your face up to it like a VR headset, except you couldn't strap it to your face. And you sat there in the most awkward position while you're trying to play a game, and it was all in like red and black.
Imagine having 60-year-old back problems as a 12-year-old. That's what happened. And it was way too. Even if they made a strap for your head, it was way too heavy to strap to your face.
If you have one that's not open and in a box, it will sell for a buttload of money.
Imagine if you had vision like the Terminator, but it was only for shitty games.
I loved Wario Land.
Oh, and also, it wasn't Terminator vision; it was Predator vision because it was all fucking red, and there was no color whatsoever in the whole game.
Mario Tennis and Wario Land. Those are like the only ones I really liked on that thing.
Shut up, Mike.
You like games
We're
on
using
that thing?
we're using the
did.
word tennis loosely, though.
That's true.
For some reason, Corey, we had Last Action Hero on that with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
God. Did you know they made a water game? Like the game like off the movie Water or Waterworld.
They had to choose whether to make the water
You
red
mean
or
like the
black.
Kevin Costner movie?
Yeah, the Kevin Costner movie Waterworld. They made a fucking game for it for the Virtual Boy. It's also worth a buttload of money.
That movie kicks ass.
The movie was terrible.
That was just outside of my top 3 on our movie list.
The movie's great.
It was in mine, but these guys made fun of me and edited it out.
That's definitely maybe not going in your top 3.
Get that out of here. Oh my.
All right, I think I'm content.
What do you guys think that you care less about multiplayer nowadays, or is it something you do more? A couple of us are parents, a couple of us aren't. I'm curious if that plays into it at all.
In the case of like the Switch, where we all can get Mario Party and we can get online and we all can play it together with headsets on, I would love the shit out of that, playing with friends and having a great time. I love Among Us if you have the right group of people, but I can't get on any of those things with people I don't know and enjoy myself. I just can't do it anymore. I can't be told by a 12-year-old that my mom sucks dick. I can't do it anymore. I know she does. It's not the point.
You gotta tell that 12-year-old the same thing, man.
Yeah, and then it's awkward when you tell the 12-year-old that his mom sucks your dick.
And then you hear your son in the other room saying, your mom sucks dick. You realize it's your son. The good part is being able to ground your son for beating you in those games.
It's true.
And you can just take it away from him in practice.
I personally love multiplayer games. I mean, I don't go out of my way to play them as much as I used to, especially like things like Call of Duty, which I'm not really into anymore. I still get the new one. I still play it with some friends occasionally because it's just, you know, sometimes I just want to numb my brain. And that's really all those games are good for anymore.
Yeah, video games, I feel like multiplayer, like that has always been a good, you know, it's like social tool. It's a great way to connect with friends and stuff. Never in my life have I played less multiplayer games than I do right now. Like everything I play is like narrative driven, story driven. For whatever reason, I just gravitate towards single player experiences.
I'm actually glad that those are starting to make a comeback. Like more people are getting more into them.
There's too many good stories in games nowadays to
Absolutely.
care about multiplayer stuff.
There's very limited time I have to invest into games. So when I do, it's story driven stuff because that's what draws me.
You guys watch more shows and like movies and stuff than I do, and I spend more time playing games.
Right.
With that time generally. It's actually weird because I probably play more multiplayer now than I ever have because like my friend circle, now that we all live in different places, like this is how we hang out playing games. Yeah. We just play, and we just all kind of like have time almost every other day. So it's like, what's the new game that we're all playing? But yeah, to just like, I think like what Corey said, to just jump on and play with random people. I don't do that anymore. I used to every day and whatever I was playing.
Yeah, I don't know if, I mean, you can't survive a Call of Duty lobby anymore. Like they're too toxic.
They've always been the same, Mike.
I know they're still the same as they are then. I'm just saying, like now, like as an older adult, like they're not as fun. I can't get in there. I don't want to sit there and argue with them anymore.
Another one of my biggest issues is like kids tend to have a lot more free time. So like these kids are so goddamn good at these games. Like Corey said about 12-year-olds, there's literally 12-year-olds kicking my ass, and it's like I don't have a good time. Like I don't have enough time to put in this game to be as good as them. So fuck it, I'm gonna be Kratos.
I remember one time I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5 online, and this kid was killing me over and over and over again, and he sounded like he was 6 years old. Fuck it. He's flying around one of those stupid rocket car things. I'm a level 12 and he's a level 817.
Were you playing with me? Were you playing with me at this time?
No, that was a different time. I was
okay
by myself that day, but I ended up having to quit that lobby because that kid wouldn't stop following me around killing me.
The sad part is when I play GTA Online, I'm that kind of person. I go around just keep killing people till they leave.
I think I could accept it from an adult. But when the kid kills me 17 times in a row and goes and has an apple juice, I can't take it. I can't take it.
I think maybe it's because I focus on like competitive fighting games and stuff, like video game wise, and where you guys more play just casually for fun, like, and so like I don't really have that like weird lobby experience as much. because I'm usually trying to push it like that next where casual people aren't really fucking
Right.
messing around, and I'm usually fighting all the other people that are trying to push it as well. It's just different experience.
If I was more into fighting games, I think I'd probably be more open to random encounters with people online, because
Rando Calrissians.
really, if you want, your match with that person is like 2 minutes long, and you can leave that person forever. So that's not as bad. But when you're in a 15-minute match with people shooting you, it's
and it's
holy
just
shit.
you're just stuck there.
I tried to jump into like an example of these toxic people in these multiplayer games. I tried to jump into a Friday the 13th lobby recently, and you really have to know people in that game and do a private party, because these son of a bitches, they're like 10-year-olds on their headsets, and they're like putting bear traps in front of doors and shit. Like, I'd be running from Jason, and I'll like open the door, and they'll just like close it right in my face.
Yeah, as a camper, you're supposed to be on a team.
Yeah, see, the object of Friday the 13th, the game, is to escape. But these sons of bitches are just like, they're calling out my location to Jason. And like, I'll try to, like, you can see on the outside of a cabin when the door gets locked, and I'll be running up. I'll be like, "Hey, open the door, can you?" And I'll just see it get locked. and then people can like run you over with cars. So they'll like start up a car, I'll be like, "Hey, I'm getting in," and they just like back up over me.
Why do you play that game?
It's fun. It's fun when it's played right.
Oh,
If you ever
okay.
want to see a funny video in Friday the 13th, there's the people I watch on YouTube, Outside Xbox.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Oh yeah, they're good.
Yeah, because they're listening. There's one where they open a door as Jason, and as soon as they open it, their system crashes, but it stays. They're Jason just standing there. They can't move.
Right.
And this guy is in a leopard thong inside the door, and he can see them. So he walks over and he opens the door and just starts doing a dance in a leopard thong, and they can't move because they're frozen. Oh my God, it's so fucking funny.
Yeah, one of the best moves on that game is if Jason picks you up, you can have another counselor. Like, if you don't want to die by Jason, this pisses you off so much if you're playing as Jason, but you pick somebody up to kill them, another counselor will like pull out a shotgun and shoot the other fucking counselor. So you don't get credit for the kill.
It's like Jason stealing the kill from Freddy and Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, she's mine. But that's all I want to say about toxic lobbies.
I don't have too many negative experiences like that to relate.
You're a different kind of multiplayer online gamer, though. You're like competitive.
Well, no, there's definitely toxic people within the competitive environments
everywhere.
for sure, but it's a little different when you're playing with people who all have the same kind of goal in mind.
Right.
All right, well, then that brings us to the hard part, the part where everybody's going to break the rules and name more than 3 anyway, the top 3. Go for it, Adrian.
So I'm not going to go into detail about all 5, because I mean I could just keep talking about all these games.
All 5.
Yeah, on the bottom 5 and 4, I'm just going to skip over real quick. These are ones I want.
5 and 4.
These are ones that I had such a hard time not including in my top
mentions.
3. The honorable mentions, let's call them. Diglett. No way.
That's Dig Dug, Adrian.
I thought we were doing our top 5 Pokemon.
You got the wrong list. That's next week's
Why
episode.
Diglett?
So I've always loved Diglett.
Not Doug Trio?
Shut up.
That's too many Diglets in one hole, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And back to the topic at hand.
Back to the topic at hand. And I'm pretty sure most of these games have already been mentioned. Number 5 is going to be Super Mario World. That is a game I originally had in my top 3, but after replaying a few other games recently, got bumped down to number 5. Just obviously so much replayability, playing with a friend, good fucking time. Number 4 is going to be the Resident Evil 2 remake. That may be on somebody else's lists here. It might not. I'm not entirely sure. But we discussed that earlier, so I'm not going to go into detail about that. So as far as my top 3, which is what this list actually is.
Thank you.
My number
bastard.
My number 3 game is going to be what I consider to be the greatest story told in video game history, and that's The Last of Us. First of all, I just think Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson, who portray Joel and Ellie, do such a great job of selling those characters. To me, it feels like the most cinematic game I've ever played. You like feel like you're experiencing a movie, and the bond between the two is just, it's like it's so hard to sit through when there's these bad moments in the game. And after a huge moment at the beginning of the game, that's a spoiler I won't talk about, but Ellie does really become Joel's daughter throughout this adventure. And I just really love the connection that the two of them have. I love the decision at the end of the game where it's kind of more of a linear path. There's easily a way they could have given you two decisions, but they make you play down this one path. And I just like that because, like, whereas you play a lot of RPGs, like, you kind of tell your own story through these characters. This game reminds you that this is Joel and Ellie's story. Like, this isn't your story. So I really love the direction they took that. Number 2 is an old fucking RPG that's nowhere near the best RPG of all time, but it's Breath of Fire 3. This is, Jesus, Corey knows. This is a game that him and I and our friend Tyler, we've probably put over 1,000 hours into easily. I have multiple 100-hour plus runs on this game of getting every single collectible, doing everything you can to do in the game. It's not the deepest story or anything like that. It's not really emotional. It's just a really fucking good time. And then number 1, this may show up on a few lists, is Final Fantasy X. Hands down, this is my favorite game of all time. It just introduced so many things. This was one of the first games as far as like full voice acting was incorporated. I just love that direction. I love the sphere grid they introduced that lets you customize what you want to do with each character. I love how the protagonist of this game really does start off as a whiny little bitch. and he really, you do learn to love him and his character throughout the game. He just peel back layers the more you play.
You're giving me food?
And I just ended up really loving Titus, or Titus for you fucking savages. It's Titus. I love all the characters in this game. I just love how they kind of all really get their moments. Like, while this game is focused mainly on Titus, and I guess you could say Yuna, every character has significant moments in the game where they kind of get their own story arcs. And I just think they did an awesome job fleshing out each character in the game. And plus all the fucking collectibles. The collectibles, I mean, you can spend 100 hours each time you play this game easily, and I have multiple times. The ending is like one of the best examples of a bittersweet ending to a game. In one sense, it is a happy ending, but it's also fucking devastating. Like, the scene before the final scene is so heartbreaking, it's still hard to watch. So that's my top 5/3.
I'm going to go ahead and go next because he said to peel back the layers during that little speech there about Final Fantasy X. And speaking of peeling back layers, my number 3 is also Breath of Fire 3.
Yes.
There's actually a character in it, Pico, who is an onion. I don't know why he's in there.
That's true.
Hilarious.
Pookie!
Yeah. You're right. Also hundreds and hundreds of hours. We've watched each other beat that game more than once. Hours and hours just watching each other play it. Like, that's great. Remember that? Oh, there, you got that. I don't know why we thought that was so entertaining for 7, 8, and 10 hours. Just watch the other person play that game.
Absolutely.
And for some reason, Ree in that game, the cat-like creature guy, the thief,
yeah,
one of my favorite RPG characters ever in a game.
Pilfer.
Yeah.
And also, when you have to fight Tipu at the end, that is heartbreaking.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's a character who lost his memory, and he's like Ree's friend.
Yeah.
And near the end of it, you actually learn that he needs to die.
Oh, spoilers. I see how it is.
Yeah.
For this 30-year-old game.
And just for context, Tipu is in your party for like the first quarter of this game, and like you really love him and Ree's characters. And by the end of the game, it's clear that you are on two very different sides, and you have to kill him, and it fucking hurts.
Yeah, because it's a character that and he's actually a really good character in the game, and you use him a lot.
Right.
And then you literally have to kill him. It's not a choice. It's not if I don't, this will happen in the game. You have to kill him.
Wow.
It was the first one of the Breath of Fire games to use 3D graphics, and I didn't like any of the other Breath of Fire games.
I didn't either.
I've played a few of them, and I didn't really care about any of them. My number 2 is Final Fantasy X.
Yes. We're brothers.
So we have a little bit of a comparison there. I don't know. You said pretty much everything you need to say about Final Fantasy X. I think I've put more hours into this game than anything else in my life. There's so many possibilities in the sphere grid, which was a huge leap in games. The sphere grid being able to upgrade your person however you wanted. You could make any character the mage. You could make any character the... I mean, the only one who was stuck was Yuna. Had to be the
summoner.
summoner.
Stay away from the summoner.
Yuna, come play with me.
You're a bad man.
So other than one super cringy cutscene where they laugh, the game's pretty perfect. But for my number one, I'm going to have to take you back to 1998, where a fresh-faced new police officer is ready for his first day on the job. Little does Leon S. Kennedy know, this will not be an ordinary first day. Of course, mine's a horror. We are brothers because 2 RPGs and a horror game are our top 3 games, except mine is from 1998, the original Resident Evil 2. I do love the remake, and it is close to that one. Probably 4 or 5 on my list, actually. It takes place 2 months after the first game. It focused mostly on exploration, puzzles, and combat, which was a great combination of different things, all of which I love in every game I've played. I just like how each character, the 2 characters, Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield, had 2 different stories in the game that you could play, and then they had an A and a B scenario where it was different than the other one. Like, Leon's B was different than Claire's B. Leon's A was different than Claire's A. It was great. It was, I mean, for me, infinite replayability. It got so many accolades back in the day for the atmosphere, settings, graphics, audio, sceneries. I don't know, the overall gameplay, nothing like it before it was anywhere near as good as it was. And even the first Resident Evil, the dialogue is horrible, obviously. I started this episode with a line from it. The dialogue in 2 is no better. It's horrible voice acting. Rest in peace to the guy who played Leon. He died a couple years ago.
Yeah.
The game is always going to be my favorite. I imagine it'll never have anything take its place.
My number 3 we mentioned earlier was the Spider-Man game for the PS4, the first one.
Damn. Good shit.
Yeah, well, for the longest time, I wasn't really like into single-player games for years. And when that came out and I started playing it, I got hooked. I couldn't put it down. I was playing for hours on end. It was the first game I decided to ever 100% because I don't know. I seen that like 90, 92, 93% down there. And I'm like, I know it. It's got to be 100. I have yet to play any of the DLC that came out for it. I've heard it's also good. So, I mean, I will eventually touch that.
It is. It's very good.
I bought the Miles Morales one. I've started playing it. I haven't finished it yet. But to me, like the mechanics, the storytelling, like you guys are saying, you know, this was one of the first comic book video games that didn't try to follow a movie, and they did their own story, which was fantastic. The only other comic book games that I could think of that didn't follow a movie were Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. They followed their own. They made up their own story.
And you know what? Those were more fun than people gave them credit for.
Those were good games too. Yeah. My second favorite, which is what made this particular franchise one of my favorite franchises of all time, is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. The whole aspect of it, the story may not have been like one of the best of the Zelda series, but with the 3D aspect of it all, the time traveling in it, like the back and forth, like the puzzles, the music, absolutely love the music in that game.
And it's one of the best last fights with Ganon.
It's so easy though. When he becomes the big pig, it's so easy.
Everybody's favorite part of Ocarina of Time is the water temple.
Oh God, no. It's and you know what, honestly, the water temple isn't that hard. It's just if you screw one thing up, you pretty much have to start over.
Yeah.
That's why people found it frustrating.
Didn't they literally simplify that, like when they re-released the game because people were complaining about it? I heard that's a thing.
I don't recall.
Doug, do you know if there's any truth to that?
I never struggled with it. So
I heard that's a thing. I don't know if it's true.
I haven't played any of the remasters, so I don't know. I will go back and play it on the 64 before. I'm weird about certain things like that, which is funny considering what I'm about to mention with my first game. You were going to say something, Doug?
I was going to say, I don't think the remasters made the Water Temple any easier for Ocarina of Time.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. That's the first time I ever heard that. Going off of something that Corey just mentioned about replayability with games because of having alternate endings, brings me to my very first game, which is Chrono Trigger. That game has like 15 plus alternate endings depending on how you beat it. Just the game alone, I don't know. Obviously, there's a nostalgia factor to it. It came out in 95, I believe.
Yeah, right around there.
To me, I still feel like it's a game that was way ahead of its time.
For sure.
The story could have been a little better as far as like RPGs go. I mean, it wasn't awful. The story was really you got engaged to it. You cared about the characters. Speaking of the characters, all of them were fantastic in their own little way. Unfortunately, you didn't have the customization like you do in Final Fantasy X with the sphere grid, but they all had the rules to play. It gave you options, like you could. One of the main villains of the game is Magus, and it gives you an option towards the end of the game whether or not you choose to kill him or let him join your party. I mean, I still haven't played very many RPGs that allow you to let the villain join you like that. I haven't played a crap ton of them, so that's the only other one I can think of. I believe that Mario RPG lets you do that.
Sort of.
There's also a character in Final Fantasy VIII that you can only find in the woods on a certain part that will join your party if you beat her.
Square is so good at that.
She has this weird round blade thing, and you can only get her if you fight her in the woods on a certain spot. And then she joins your party. She's kind of like Riku in 10.
Are you talking about Yuffie from FF7?
You know what? Maybe. Because there, I didn't even think of that, but yeah, I think that is who it is. But you don't always get her in 8. You have to fight her in the woods, and then she joins you.
Wait, isn't Yuffie from Kingdom Hearts?
How dare you?
Yeah, like Leon.
I'm shutting this whole conversation down. Leon, not Squall.
The other thing, absolutely, which is one of the reasons I love Ocarina of Time so much, is soundtrack. And I think that Chrono Trigger has one of the best soundtracks in any RPG. They do really well at making you feel certain things, what you're supposed to feel during the scenes. Like, it's just, the game is extremely well-rounded for its time. I don't think they'll make another game like it without it seeming like they're copying. That's my top 3.
Check out a game called I Am Setsuna sometime.
Is that the one where the frog in it looks just like Frog from Chrono Trigger?
Yeah, because it's a Square game. But check it out sometime. You might be surprised. That or Octopath Traveler. I'm kind of torn on my top 3 here to just go with the top 3 that may or may not have mostly been covered already, or to do something a little different, where I name my top 3 less likely heard of games.
Why not both?
We don't all break the rules here like you, Adrian. No, I'll just stick to the regular ones. Number 3, I think it has to go to Super Mario World. Now, this top 3 can change for me at like any given day of the week at this point in my life. I love video games. Number 3, I think would have to go to Super Mario World. Definitely my favorite Mario, hands down. It just took what they laid out from one in the first games and just cranked it up and perfected what it could be. It's hard to say if without that game how the 3D ones would have been implemented, but it was definitely the perfected 2D experience. Even with all the ones that have come out since then, it just really feels like they tried to cling to what that game achieved, and it's just never really been up to that level again, in my opinion. My number 2 is going to have to go to Chrono Trigger. It would have been my number 1 a long time ago, but another game might take that spot nowadays. But Chrono Trigger, like Mike was saying, I actually think this story, I give it more credit than he does probably even. But I'm kind of a sucker for a simple fantasy story sometimes. So I think there's definitely something there for that. I mean, Akira Toriyama, if you are familiar with him, he's the guy that writes and draws Dragon Ball. That is why the character design looks so similar. So it's so easy to just fall in love with those characters if you're a fan of any of his other work.
You mean the only good thing about the PS1 edition that they added was those awesome cutscenes?
Yeah. Just play the DS version or the Steam version if you want that same experience but better. But it's just so easy to fall in love with those characters if you're a fan of any of that work. I'm sure nobody else here likes Dragon Ball.
No.
Yeah, no. I don't. What is it?
Never heard of her.
Is it some kind of cartoon or something?
Isn't that cartoon that they're all named after vegetables?
Is that anything like Attack on Titan?
It's not Veggie Tales, Mike.
Veggie Tales.
Anyway. That'll bring me to my number one game.
I can't believe there's going to be a second person that says Resident Evil 2 is their number one game.
He's lying because I would never say that.
Diglett?
Not that I have anything against Resident Evil. I just don't play Resident Evil.
I have a feeling
games,
I know what this movie, what it is.
There might be this giant mighty X in the air. I want to tell you my story now, everybody. It's might be my only chance because somebody else will talk about every other aspect of this game if I don't first.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Final Fantasy X. It's just gonna be a game that you're gonna hear about a lot on here, and you just gotta accept that because I think all four of us are massive fans. But it is like there's very little I could say that Adrian hadn't already.
Maybe I should have gone last.
No, no. I disagree a little bit with the. Well, no, I guess the way you talk about Titus. I also will say Titus. Don't worry for all you heathens out there that say Titus.
I hate all of you, by the way.
It's not fucking Titus.
You're all on my shit list.
I think my favorite Titus. Part. It is as much as we don't want it to be. But I think my favorite part about that game is the main character does come into the world, into Spira. He comes in there, and he is like this kind of spoiled, almost like the popular spoiled kid, basically pops up in this new world. But he has a reason to be like off-put and disgruntled and stuff, so you don't really like hate him for it.
It's because of his daddy issues.
He has those, yeah. But I meant like the whole just suddenly being in this world that's unfamiliar to him and stuff. I think that's a fair reason to be like all jacked out of it and then immediately put to work going underwater to fight octopus monsters and shit. Like, come on, cut him some slack here.
What do you do on Tuesdays?
But the fact that I see that game as like his rope story, basically. Like he starts off as this spoiled, like whiny kid, and he turns into like this real like respectable protagonist, like somebody that you can find yourself rooting for, that you want to see win. But you know he doesn't get to. Him winning requires him to lose, and like I'm a sucker for that whole kind of tragedy type deal. Like so that shit gets me every time. I play that game once a year, and I will probably continue to do so until I die.
I'm embarrassed to admit that of the many, many playthroughs of that game I've had, this time I'm playing it through is the first time I've ever won that tournament blitzball game against the...
Never beat the Luca Goers before now.
The Luca Goers.
Nope, I've never beat them.
Hey there, Goers. This year it's us Auroch's turn.
And it was, we won. It's the first time I actually got to have Waka give that trophy over to his team.
Isn't that cutscene so ridiculous? How big that trophy is compared to him?
Yes.
It's like, oh my god!
And he's just holding it with one arm,
but not for long.
But yeah, that's my top 3. Anyone else have anything to add?
That's a pretty good list, brother.
Sadly, I will say that Final Fantasy X was my number 3 until we all were talking and you were talking about Spider-Man, and it just dawned on me. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Right.
Just the fact,
love it.
I mean, the fact that it's the game that made me back, brought me back in a single player game. So,
hey, that's a good reason.
I actually had a bit of a surprising one that slipped off my list right at the end. Was Hitman 2.
I was shocked we didn't talk about Hitman.
It was gonna make it in your top 3.
It's I'm still obsessed with those games. They're so much fun. There's so many ways to kill your targets that it's replayable for days and days and days, days for one contract. It's amazing.
Maybe I should have just done a top 3, huh?
I mean,
maybe.
Hey, we can. Hey, just saying, we can edit out 5 and 4. I wouldn't have an issue with that.
No, I think it's funnier that way that you left it.
We're still recording. I just have so many notes. Like I feel like I talk too much about my top 3.
If you don't stop breaking the rules, I'm gonna make you as dead as Chapu.
Poor
Chapu.
Okay. Well, anyways. That's going to bring us to the end of the show. Thanks for sharing your time again with us this week. And if you're new here, why not consider subscribing to the show and join us next week while we listen to some music. From all of us at Culture Shock, thanks for listening.